Fair competition elevates competitors. The strongest, the most beautiful, the greatest basketball player, Michael Jordan. Is there a player called a rival to the player known as a god? If so, who? Today, let's think about Michael Jordan's rival. First, there's Hakeem Olajuwon. Notably, he was the first overall pick in the same draft class as Jordan. Being part of the same draft class adds to the rivalry factor. Additionally, his multiple rings and Finals MVP awards elevate his legacy. One concern is that their positions were entirely different. Also, 2 of Olajuwon's championships were achieved during the 2 years when Jordan was absent from the NBA. The second person is Magic Johnson. These two, who were involved in a rivalry debate close to the GOAT discussion, clashed in the NBA Finals for the first time for Jordan and the last time for Magic. As a result, the Chicago Bulls secured their long-awaited first championship. The following year, shortly after the start of the season, Magic announced his retirement from professional basketball. These two may have had more of a predecessor and successor aspect in the face of the NBA, rather than a traditional rival relationship. The third and fourth individuals are John Stockton and Karl Malone. This duo, the legendary Utah Jazz of John Stockton and Karl Malone, is the only team that clashed with Jordan in the NBA Finals twice. John Stockton, the ice-cold maestro who stands head and shoulders above the rest at the pinnacle of the NBA in career assists and career steals. Karl Malone, the mailman, who ranks third in all-time NBA scoring, surpassing even Jordan and anyone else on this list. The duo of John Stockton and Karl Malone, often regarded as the greatest pair to never win a championship, are better characterized as Jordan's rivals as a team rather than just on an individual level. The fifth person is Clyde Drexler. In 1992, Clyde Drexler had a standout year, being the only player to be selected to the All-NBA first team and finishing second in the MVP voting. The MVP award went to Jordan, and both players led their teams to the NBA Finals. While Drexler and Jordan were considered evenly matched at the time, Jordan demonstrated his superiority in their direct showdown, leading to a disappointing defeat for the Portland Trail Blazers. Drexler, who had faced bitter defeats by the Bad Boy Pistons and Jordan's Bulls in the NBA Finals, solidified his status as one of the greatest Blazers in history. Towards the end of his career, he teamed up with his college teammate Hakeem Olajuwon and finally achieved his long-awaited first championship. By the time of his retirement, Drexler had left behind an impressive all-around legacy with over 20,000 points, 6,000 rebounds, and 6,000 assists, putting him among the all-time greats in those statistical categories. Charles Barkley, this popular commentator, is indeed a bona fide NBA legend. He earned a total of 11 All-Star selections, 11 All-NBA honors, and even won the regular season MVP award during his career. As part of the legendary 1984 NBA draft class that included Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, John Stockton, and others, this big man delivered remarkable individual performances but faced team struggles during his career. He reached the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns in a new chapter of his career. The opponent, once again, was the Chicago Bulls. After a hard-fought battle that ended in defeat, Barkley teamed up with Olajuwon and Drexler but never reached the finals again. He's also a candidate for the title of the greatest New Yorker. Pat Riley, who took over as the coach of the Knicks, instilled a defensive mindset in the team, quite the opposite of Showtime. However, the Knicks, who had been defeated by the Bulls in the playoffs for 3 consecutive years, reached the NBA Finals in the 1994 playoffs after Jordan retired from the NBA. They overcame 2 Game 7s along the way. Their opponent was the Houston Rockets, who had Hakeem Olajuwon, a college rival of Patrick Ewing. Ewing, after a grueling battle, was defeated in Game 7 and left a legacy as one of the greatest players without an NBA championship. Lastly, we have this man, Isiah Thomas. Those of you who have been following along may have noticed, Jordan hardly lost at all. The player and team that can be said to have clearly beaten Jordan, and the only viable candidate, are the bad boy Detroit Pistons led by Isiah Thomas. In his younger days, Jordan was repeatedly roughed up by the bad boy Pistons. In the 1980s, as the two powerhouses of Boston and Los Angeles were at their peak, these young rebels from Detroit emerged and secured back-to-back championships. It's fair to say that it was the presence of this fearsome group that fueled Jordan's desire for victory, driving him to become the greatest player in history and leading his team to greatness. What we've learned so far is that in the early stages of Jordan's career, the bad boy Pistons served as a major obstacle. However, once the Bulls got on track and became contenders, new challengers emerged year after year, and Jordan systematically overcame them all. In many of these cases, It's more fitting to view it as the Jordan Bulls against a particular team rather than a personal matchup between Jordan and an individual player. If I were asked to name just one of Jordan's rivals, I would mention Clyde Drexler, the number 2 shooting guard of his era. That concludes this discussion. Absolutely. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this topic. Please feel free to share your thoughts and feedback.